Karen's voice screeched like a car alarm nobody could shut off, slicing through the quiet of our cul-de-sac. "You're a disgrace to this neighborhood," she bellowed, her chins wobbling as she jabbed a manicured finger at my front door. I stood on my porch, arms crossed, watching her unravel. The woman had been terrorizing our community for years. But today, she'd picked the wrong fight. This wasn't just about a lawnmower left out overnight. This was about power, control, and her desperate need to feel superior until the truth hit her like a freight train. It started innocently enough. "My name's Lucas Grant, a carpenter who moved to Willow Creek 3 years ago after inheriting my grandfather's old Victorian house. It's a fixer-upper, with peeling paint and creaky floors. But it's mine every nail, every shingle, every inch of the deed. I keep to myself, work long hours, and don't bother anyone." But Karen, the self-appointed queen of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association, had other plans. She'd been eyeing my property since I arrived, muttering about property values and community standards like I was running a junkyard instead of a home. Karen wasn't just any HOA president. She was a walking stereotype, loud, entitled, and convinced she was the moral arbiter of our sleepy suburb. At 300 pounds, she waddled around in bright, mismatched outfits, her voice carrying the kind of authority that only comes from years of bullying neighbors into submission. She'd fine people for untrimmed hedges, lecture kids for skateboarding, and once tried to ban Mrs. Henderson's rose garden for being too colorful. Everyone hated her, but nobody dared cross her. Until me. The trouble began last month when I parked my work truck in my driveway overnight. Karen sent me a letter in official HOA letterhead, no less demanding I remove it within 24 hours or face a $500 fine. I ignored it. I checked the bylaws. There was no rule against parking a work vehicle on your own property. But Karen didn't care about rules. She cared about control. 2 days later, she showed up at my door, clipboard in hand, her face redder than the azaleas she'd once tried to outlaw. "Lucas, this truck is an eyesore," she snapped, her voice echoing down the street. "You're lowering the value of every home in this neighborhood. Move it, or I'll have it towed." I leaned against the doorframe, sipping my coffee. "Karen, it's my driveway, my truck, my property. You don't get to tell me what to do." Her eyes narrowed, and I swear I saw her nostrils flare. "Oh, you'll regret that attitude," she hissed. "I'm the president of this HOA, and I can make your life hell." She wasn't wrong about the hell part. Over the next few weeks, Karen unleashed a campaign of petty vengeance. She sent daily fines for imaginary violations. My grass was too long. It wasn't. My mailbox was non-compliant. It was standard issue. Even my porch light was too dim. It worked fine. She'd show up unannounced, snapping photos of my yard like a private investigator, muttering about taking this to the board. The neighbors started whispering, too spineless to stand up to her, but happy to gossip about my rebellion. I tried reasoning with her once. Big mistake. I knocked on her door, hoping to clear the air. She answered in a leopard print caftan, holding a glass of Chardonnay at 10 a.m. "What do you want?" She sneered, looking me up and down like I was a stray dog. "Karen, let's talk this out," I said calmly. "I'm not breaking any rules. Why are you coming after me?" She laughed, a sharp, grating sound. "You don't belong here, Lucas. This is a respectable neighborhood, not a trailer park. If you can't follow our standards, you can leave." That's when I realized this wasn't about the truck or the grass. Karen saw me as a single guy, blue collar, living in a house that didn't match her vision of suburban perfection and decided I was a threat to her little kingdom. She didn't just want compliance. She wanted me gone. Things escalated last week when I got a certified letter from the HOA. It claimed my house was in violation of some obscure zoning clause, and if I didn't vacate the premises within 30 days, the HOA would pursue legal action to seize my property. I read it twice, my hands shaking not with fear, but with rage. Karen wasn't just harassing me anymore. She was trying to steal my home. I called a lawyer friend, Maria, who laughed when she saw the letter. "This is nonsense," she said. "The HOA doesn't have the power to evict you. They're bluffing. But Karen's banking on you not knowing that." Maria dug deeper and found something even better. My grandfather hadn't just left me the house, he left me the entire plot, including the land under 3 neighboring properties, which he'd leased out decades ago. The HOA had been formed after his death, and Karen, in her infinite arrogance, never bothered to check the deeds. I didn't just own my house. I technically owned the ground her precious McMansion sat on. Armed with this, I decided to play her game. I sent a polite email to the HOA board, requesting a public meeting to discuss the zoning issue. Karen, smelling victory, agreed immediately, probably imagining me groveling. She had no idea what was coming. The meeting was held in the community center, a stuffy room packed with nosy neighbors and Karen's loyal minions. She stood at the front, her floral dress straining at the seams, holding a gavel like she was presiding over a courtroom. "Mr. Grant," she said, her voice dripping with condescension, "you've been given ample notice to vacate. Explain why you think you can defy the HOA." I stood up, holding a folder of documents. "Karen, before we get to that, can you confirm the HOA's authority over my property?" She smirked. "Of course. The HOA governs all properties in Willow Creek. Your house is no exception." "Interesting," I said, pulling out the deed. "Because according to this, I own my house outright. And not just the house, the land under it, including the land under your house." "Karen." The room went silent. Karen's face froze, her mouth half open like a fish gasping for air. I handed the deed to Maria, who projected it onto the screen for everyone to see. Murmurs rippled through the crowd as I explained. My grandfather's estate gave me full ownership, and the HOA's zoning claims were baseless. Karen's threats were not just empty, they were fraudulent. "You're lying," she shrieked, slamming her gavel so hard it cracked. "This is my neighborhood. You can't just waltz in and—" "Actually," Maria cut in, her voice calm but razor sharp, "you've been sending fraudulent eviction notices. Karen, that's a crime. I've already contacted the county prosecutor." The neighbors gasped. Karen's face turned purple, her hands trembling as she realized her empire was crumbling. "This is outrageous," she sputtered. "I've done nothing but protect this community." "Protect?" I said, stepping forward. "You've bullied people, fined them for nothing, and tried to steal my home because I don't fit your image of respectable. You're not protecting Anyanyuri, just a tyrant." The room erupted. Neighbors who'd been silent for years started shouting, airing their own grievances. Mrs. Henderson stood up, frail but furious, and called Karen a power-hungry bully. Another neighbor admitted to recording Karen's rants for months, building a case against her. The meeting turned into a rebellion, with Karen at the center. floundering as her authority dissolved. By the end, the board voted to remove her as president. Maria filed a formal complaint with the county. And last I heard, Karen was facing charges for fraud and harassment. Her house, built on my land, is now under a lease dispute. She might have to pay me rent to stay there. The irony is delicious. As for me, I'm still in my fixer-upper. My truck parked proudly in the driveway. The neighbors have started waving again. And Mrs. Henderson even brought me some of her 2 colorful roses. Karen's reign is over. And Willow Creek is finally free. The end.